welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's community call. It's community call number 17 and the first for this year. My name is Prateek. I look after marketing at Covalent and I'll be moderating today's call along with Ganesh. We have some exciting updates. The last community call that we did was in November, if you remember. And since then, yeah, there's a lot that has happened. And there's a lot that is planned, and we have like exciting things in our roadmap for 2023. So we have a bunch of updates for today. I will share the deck, but before we kickstart, I'll hand it over to Ganesh to just do the honors and the intro.
Thank you, Prateek. Happy New Year, everyone. So this year has started out with a bang. We've just been shipping, just making a lot of progress. I think resolved a lot of the overhang from end of last year. We'll go into some of that bits in like further down this call, but I think the first place to start is to reflect back on what we've accomplished in 2022. And that starts with the annual report. So this is a report that we wrote, and I'm going to hand it off to Indy to highlight some of the biggest items from the report.
Thanks, Ganesh. Hi, everyone. So as Ganesh mentioned, my name is Indira Smith, and I am super excited to be talking a little bit about our annual report today. So to sum it all up in sort of an umbrella term would be that 2022 was truly our year of firsts. And to dive into what that means, to give a little recap, we were the very first indexer in the space to index app chains. We were also the very first to index zero-knowledge rollups. And we had our very first external governance proposal. So that was received by the Chronos chain as well as the Evmos chain. So those are just a couple of our firsts that we had. In terms of our breadth, we indexed over 50 chains in 1 year. So that has brought our total number of index chains to 72. And we also had a couple of other firsts in building the community and championing our pioneers of tomorrow with our Data Alchemist Bootcamp. And we're excited to be seeing that people are already gaining more jobs and reducing the barriers to the types of employment that Web3 provides. So all in all, 2022 was a massive year despite some of the turbulent market conditions that we all saw. But overall, we are very excited to take a moment to reflect on everything we were able to accomplish in 2022 and take this time as well to look into the future and see everything that we have planned in our roadmap for 2023. So I am sure Prateek already dropped the link to the annual report in the chat box below, but please take your time to do a quick read through it and see some of our top highlights. Thanks.
Thank you, Indy. So I would highly encourage all of you to read the annual report. It goes into a lot of depth. We've accomplished a lot last year.
Awesome.
Shall we move on to the next?
Yes, the next topic is like I believe it's like the most important thing that the entire community was looking forward to, the migration of the Covalent network to Wormhole. We did this. We did that in this month. It was a pretty pivotal moment in our like network's history, and for that, I would request Ganesh and Niall to give us a little background as to what went in it. How did we come up to this solution, and what can people and the community, broader community, can expect from this migration?
Sounds good. So just to give you a little bit of history, the Covalent staking launched last summer, so April to be precise. And what that meant is for the first time in the history of Web3 and crypto, you have cryptographic proofs for data extraction being uploaded to a blockchain. So these proofs were uploaded to a faster blockchain, which is Moonbeam in our case, because these proof submissions were expensive to do on Ethereum. So the settlement there was CQT, but we had to bridge across CQT from Ethereum because CQT is a Ethereum native ERC20 asset. And we used a partner bridge called Nomad to bridge these assets across. So the MadCQT on Moonbeam is a synthetic asset that is collateralized by the CQT on the Ethereum side. And this was good for a few months until August, when the Nomad bridge got hacked. So suddenly what happened is that all of the CQT that was on the Ethereum side got stolen. And this was about 11% of the supply. And immediately the CQT price crashed because the thieves dumped the tokens. And it was a big mess. So now the issue is not just that the price crashed and you now have a bit of a element of distrust. You now have this asset that is backing the entire network, which is not backed or has no collateral on the back. And so all this MadCQT that's circulating on Moonbeam is not one-to-one with CQT. So that was the big mess. But this didn't stall the network production, the block specimens, or the submission of these proofs. It's just that the dollar value of these proofs were unknown because the MadCQT was unbacked. So anyway, so we formulated a plan and we released an initial report on what happened there and the facts and how much of it was returned, how much of it is within our custody, and so on. All of the white hackers sent it back to a Nomad-controlled wallet address. So Covalent, the foundation, didn't have access to these returned funds. And by November, we had formulated the recovery plan on how much we want to make the token holders whole. And by January, we had a move forward plan with Wormhole as an alternate bridge. So that migration happened last week, and it went on without a hitch. I'll leave it up to Niall to explain some of these bits, but I would say this is what I meant when I said that the overhang from last year is now clearing up. So we have a very clear path forward, and we can focus on building out of this funk. We can focus on the future and just leave everything related to Nomad in 2022. So I'll leave it out to Niall to actually explain the specifics of the Wormhole bridge and if there's time, the recovery plan.
Yeah, so I'll do a bit of reflecting as well, since that seems to be the theme of this call. But the hack was obviously an unfortunate event, not only for Covalent, but for the space as a whole. Any kind of event like this is. And when you reflect on 2022 and the space, there was a series of these kinds of events that involved loss. And when you do reflect on these kind of things, it's easy to just focus on the negative and forget about all the good work that especially the network did in 2022. So sure, there was the hack, but there was also the launch of the block specimen, which is the first of its kind in the space. There was onboarding the first set of validators. We had hundreds of delegators delegate their CQT to support the network. There was the build up to the launch and so on and so forth. And everything that also happened on behind the scenes that everyone didn't see. So all the hard work that the network team did, that the whole Covalent team did leading up to this and for the network. So it's easy to focus on the negative, but a lot of great work did happen last year with regards to the network, and that the hack was just a minor setback. And it also made the community and Covalent as a whole. And with the migration, we now close the chapter on this setback. So with regards to Wormhole, it works similar in the sense of Nomad, but we now just remove that toxic acid, which was MadCQT, and introduce whole CQT, which is now fully backed one-to-one with CQT on Ethereum. And we go back to the way things were previous to the hack. So what do we look forward to now moving forward? And now that this is behind us, we will continue with the later phases of the network. So the refiner engine and the query operators. And in the coming months, you'll see more coming from us with regards to these two later phases. And not to mention, as you guys saw with the Covalent Vision release, we have the fee switch, we have moving to our own layer one and building that out. And again, we'll release more documents and collateral moving forward and how this will actually look. But once you get to the point where all this is built out, especially even just at the minimum viable product level with the network, the hack will just look like a drop in the water with all of this. So thank you for the ongoing support following the hack. And yeah, that's all I have to say on that.
Thank you. Now we'll have specifics in the Q&A section. There were some questions about the P-switch and
Sure.
the refiner.
All right. I also saw one person raising hand, so we'll leave the questions to the end. Let's move on to the next topic for today. It's bear market builders. So what is bear market builders? Like I know a little over a couple of weeks ago, we started this massive campaign. I mean, it is a Covalent initiative. We are celebrating and recognizing different projects, builders in the Web3 ecosystem who are using the Covalent Unified API. This campaign basically showcases everything that these builders are doing, the innovations, contributions, despite the challenges in the bear market. Covalent, if you all remember, Covalent is a bear market baby, and we've been through a couple of bear markets already. And what we want to do is celebrate these builders who are building, who are hustling through this bear market. The goal is very simple. It's to inspire and support these builders and basically push this industry forward. So we have a dedicated Twitter handle, which is BMB_nation, that you can follow and check what's going on. We've already featured about 7 to 8 projects, top names in the industry like wallets, dexes, taxation tools and whatnot. And there are hundreds of these that will get featured in the next few days, few months, if I may say so. So yeah, that's bear market builders. We're very excited about that, and thank you for the response. I mean, I see it firsthand as to how the community is getting involved. We also keep getting entries from different projects who want to be a part of this, but keep in mind they have to use the Covalent Unified API to be a part of this. All right, so that's BMB for all of you. Ganesh, anything you want to add to this?
No, you said it perfectly. This is a platform to support the builders through this difficult time.
Awesome. Perfect. So let's move on to the next update for today. And this is an exciting one because it is all about events. And then we've got ETHDenver lined up for next month. So let me pass it on to Meltem, our event manager, who can talk more about ETHDenver. Meltem, over to you.
Thank you, Pratik. Hi, everyone. I'm Meltem. ETHDenver is very exciting. I have to say that I like it when February rolls around and we get to send the team out to Denver. We are Cypher sponsors again, so we'll have 8 team members. Ganesh will be out there, Harish from developer relations. We have engineers, we have marketing, we have token relations, our product manager. We have a good mix of people that will be out on site at ETHDenver. So if you are an existing user of the Covalent API, then come chat with us about, if you have any questions, maybe jot them down ahead of time so you talk to the right person at our booth. If you're a builder, then come in with your questions for sure, but let us know how we can support you. As Pratik said, we like to celebrate builders and developers, and ETHDenver is just a moment to do that in person. We are also actually sponsoring WalletCon the day before ETHDenver kicks off. So if you're interested in kind of like the wallet experience, please do register online. We'll be there. We'll have 5 people on site. And yeah, good luck to everyone who's building. We can't really say anything more about our prizes and our bounties, but stay tuned.
Awesome. Thank you, thank you, Meltem. Yeah, ETHDenver is very near and dear to us, and we are all excited to be there for yet another big event. Okay, so moving on, we have some product updates. Essentially, like on the last community call, Ganesh mentioned that we are moving towards launching the paid API. There's a lot of movement that has happened since then, and I want Ganesh, Harish to kind of give an update as to where we are and then what the community or the builders can look forward to with the API.
Thank you, Pratik. So this is probably the biggest initiative. A lot of us have had to wake up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m. to get on these calls and talk to customers and understand what the needs are. So some context here. The Covalent API has always been free. And the analogy I'd like to use here is we've spent the last couple of years just laying down the railway tracks. And so now we are those tracks have been related. So there's 72 blockchains that have been indexed that is available through the unified API. And now it's a matter of trading goods and moving commodities around coast to coast. So that is really what is happening here, where true trade volume, true validated product market fit is how we realize the vision for Covalent. So with regard to that, this is like a whitelist kind of process. And this kickstarted, I think, the last week of December, but it's been exciting. So I'll give it up to Harish to explain some of the nuances that's behind the program, and if there are any metrics to share, and maybe some like what is the biggest piece of feedback or the biggest learning you've had so far, and so on.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, Ganesh. So it's actually been fantastic to get on these early morning calls, as sometimes really early this could be. And the reason for that is really getting direct feedback from our users who are looking and exploring what the premium tier has to offer, and giving us feedback, suggestions, what else we could be improving. And so on these calls, I'm joined by my colleague Jay on the product side, and there's been a couple of, I'd say, key takeaways that we've noted. One, it's great to see how many people are overly optimistic about the API, that it meets their needs, that it's a lot more responsive now with many of the changes that we've implemented recently, that it's a very sticky product in that sense. And that's obviously great news for us. We're trying to build the best tools for developers to be able to get on-chain data into their application. And this is good validation. There's also been really good critical feedback that we've taken and are working to improve on our end. So all in all, it's been great. We've probably had about close to 30 calls now, and we'll continue to do so. Really, this is just another opportunity for us to really connect with the end user, better understand their use cases, and how we can be the best data solution for them. We've also, we won't get into too many details here, but it's also been awesome to see a couple of enterprise projects get on board, and we'll have upcoming press releases, but really, really exciting, top-notch, enterprise customers using our product, and we'll have more details on that soon.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Harish. Yeah, let's move on to the next update. In fact, this is something fresh off press. We just had like the Avalanche ecosystem post shipped. David So from our team, who looks after ecosystem, has posted an amazing post about subnets and how the Avalanche subnets are powering the next wave of GameFi and app chains in the ecosystem. So let me share the post with you, but while I do that, I'll let David speak about this post, what it means to the Covalent ecosystem, how we are helping the Avalanche subnets, and everything related to that. David, over to you.
Yep, thanks, Pratik. So I'm going to share some insights and highlights from our most recent blog post on Avalanche's subnets, DFK and Kribata, and what their benefits are, some of their traction, and what are some future use cases for subnets. So as Pratik mentioned, recently our ecosystem partner, Avalanche, has been executing on its vision of subnets. And subnets essentially enable the deployment of app chains within the Avalanche ecosystem. And they also offer benefits to users, such as faster transaction speeds, faster finality, and also lower transaction fees. So by using these subnets, Avalanche can theoretically achieve infinite scalability by running multiple of these app chains in parallel without taking up any space on the Avalanche's main C chain. So that's just a brief rundown of subnets, and most of the subnets today are being utilized to scale existing GameFi projects, such as DeFi Kingdoms, DFK Chain, and also Kribata Swimmer Network that you can see on the screen here. And subnets are a great choice for these games, as they naturally need to process thousands of transactions per second, reach finality within seconds, and also have little to no transaction fees. So now let's take a look at some of the data that Luke from our research team pulled on both the DFK chain and also Kribata. So here we can see that since DFK launched their DFK chain, it's now executing almost as many total transactions per month as the Avalanche main C chain. So it's a huge driver of traction for the Avalanche ecosystem. And by the way, all these charts are pulled using our BI tool increments that our wonderful research team has built out as well. And if we go to the next slide, we can see that on this chart, by migrating from the C chain to the Swimmer network, Kribata was able to reduce transaction fees to be under less than 0.005 cents. So not to mention, the game also was able to optimize transaction speed to be 12 seconds faster. So this all enables the players on Kribata, and also similar for DFK, to maximize their gameplay. And both the DFK chain and Swimmer network demonstrates how subnets are a win-win scenario for both the players for a more seamless experience, and also for the C chain by clearing up congestion that would have taken place there. So all in all, this blog basically says that subnets are a very agile solution that we've seen in blockchain scaling. And also besides GameFi, they also open the door to many more use cases like Dexalot's DeFi subnet, regulatory compliance subnets, and also enterprise subnets, which Covalent is going to support in the coming year. If you're curious, you can now read the report on our new blog that our wonderful engineers, Clayton and Joe, built. And you can also pull C chain data, DFK chain data, and Swimmer network data using our unified API. If you haven't used our API before, you can go check out our website, covalenthq.com, to get started. Thanks, Pratik.
Awesome. That was a great update. Thanks a lot, David. So the genesis of this actually happened last year during the Avalanche Summit. And yeah, it's exciting to see like these numbers and charts in just less than a year, and then so much of traction. All right, so we will move on to our Q&A section now. There is one question that has been buzzing around for the last few days, weeks on Telegram, Discord channels in the community. And then we want to kind of address that. And this is around the CQT distribution, the recent distributions that have happened, and like the things around tokenomics. And then we want to address that head on. So let me hand it over to Adrian, who's our CFO, COO, who can address these questions. Adrian, over to you.
That's CFO, COO. Ganesh is the CEO.
That's right.
Just to clarify. So yes, thanks for that. We're happy to answer questions about the CQT distributions and the recent increases in CQT circulating supply. There's also some questions about buying and selling of CQT by certain wallets, and I'll cover that too. So first of all, the community may have noticed a big jump in CQT circulating supply on CoinMarketCap. Now that is something that has happened before. Basically, CoinMarketCap publishes the methodology, how they calculate it. It is meant to be automated, but from time to time their automation breaks. And then we have to work with them to flag what needs to be fixed, and they fixed it. So that increase is just that's just a reporting issue on their side. However, there has been an increase in circulating supply, and that is really for two reasons. The first is there was a private sale distribution at the end of December and early in January. That was the second last one. There is one other relatively small distribution in June, and that is the final one. And secondly, circulating supply increased because part of the ecosystem allocation was used as part of the network migration and whole CQT recovery process, specifically 32 million CQT. So that's also an increase in supply there. Other than that, there was, there's questions from time to time about, the methodology. We have published a blog post on this before. I can share it in the chat as well. And there's a spreadsheet there as well linked in the blog post. The spreadsheet shows what is the maximum unlocked CQT. Okay, so according to the spreadsheet, there could be up to 650 million CQT on CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. You'll see about 500 million. So this is again, the spreadsheet shows what is all the unlocked amount. Not all of that is distributed. The biggest discrepancy there is to do with the reserve. The reserve has more than 80 odd million CQT unlocked, but not all of that is distributed. So that's why it's best to refer to the on-chain. That's the accurate circulating supply, actually shows what has been distributed. The spreadsheet in the long run, of course, that will be accurate because all the CQT will be distributed over time. So yes, moving on to the buying and selling of CQT by certain wallets. So we can't really discuss transactions by wallets that hold CQT either because we don't know, or if we don't, or if we do know, there are compliance and privacy and confidentiality issues. Now, of course, there are the published treasury wallets, as you can see on the blog post, and all of those data is on chain, and many third-party resources exist which connect various dots. They actually label wallets as either the treasury wallet or the whales. There are third-party analysts who also publish various reports. You can, the community is of course free to consume those and try to get insights on what's going on. Not all of it is accurate from time to time, so it's always good to do your own research. Regarding own research, somebody in the community asked about a specific wallet. They asked, there's a wallet with 18 million CQT, and how can we know that this is and that this wallet is selling CQT, and how can we know that this is not a inside job? That's the words that they used. So anyway, again, like all of this is on chain, right? So like if you go to EtherScan and you actually sort by the holders, CQT holders, and look at the wallets, the wallet that holds 18 million CQT, it is labeled by EtherScan as OKX. Okay, that's EtherScan's label, not my label. So if there's selling activity on OKX, like to me, that's not unusual. That is a centralized exchange. So the CQT there will be bought and sold. Okay, and so yeah, so like definitely, we don't control what the community does with their CQT. There are distributions that take place to private sale participants from time to time. Generally, the vast majority of these people are and entities and communities are in it for the long run, and they are staunch supporters of ours. We see public announcements from time to time, actually, that they are purchasing CQT as well. Again, this is not financial advice, right? These are just public announcements from time to time. So I think this is all signs of normal, healthy community, that there is, some buying and selling by different people. Specifically, we can't really comment as I mentioned before. But yeah, please do ask questions through Abbas and Daniel, our community managers, and we'll answer to the best of our ability. Thank you.
Great. Thanks a lot, Adrian, for all the clarification. Yeah, that was solid. Now let's move on to some of the technical questions that we got from the Google form that we shared with the community. So the first question is, and I think this is like multiple teams involved, but I'll mostly hand it over to Ganesh for answering these questions to start with. So when will CQT be live on Cosmos SDK? Will ERC20 CQT still exist? Ganesh.
It's a great question. It's a great question. So I'll start with the second question first. Will CQT exist as an ERC20 on Ethereum? And the answer is yes. There's lots of advantages of using Ethereum as your home base. It has broad support. It's very secure, and it's a great place to call home. Now, the settlement will be done via a synthetic asset on Cosmos chain. One of the challenges with the Cosmos ecosystem is that if you were to build an app chain, a Cosmos zone, you have to bootstrap the entire ecosystem from scratch. What that means is that you need to work on custody support, you need to work on wallet support, you need to work on exchange support. And this is why a lot of the Cosmos tokens, I think there are hundreds, maybe a small fraction of those are actually trading and have wallet support and have centralized infrastructure support. So that's a big ask to move to Cosmos. So that's why we are not going to move the token away from Ethereum. So there's no reason to change that, because Ethereum works. Ethereum is great. You can see it in your wallet. So periodically, or we'll just use market makers to manage the supply on the Cosmos side and the Ethereum side. So that answers question one.
Yep, great. I think this is also probably an extension. Will we be able to purchase whole CQT on an exchange? Let's say a centralized exchange or a decentralized exchange.
So there's two embedded questions in this, whether you can purchase whole CQT and when will you be able to purchase whole CQT? So the first question, will you be able to purchase whole CQT? The answer is yes, because it's just a standard ERC20 token. If the Moonbeam is supported by an exchange, which like Coinbase, for example, does not support, and whole CQT lives on Moonbeam, there's no point in adding Coinbase support to whole CQT, just add CQT. And when will it be on Coinbase or Binance? We generally have a policy of not speculating on exchange listings.
Yep, that's right. Okay, so let's move on to a little more technical questions. So basically, people are asking a timeline. Can we have a more precise timeline for 2023 for the fee switch, move to L1, NFT cash endpoint, Class C, and data refiner?
These are great questions, and this is what is super exciting. So the granularity that we can give any kind of forecasting would be on the quarterly basis rather than a week or a date. I think that's just setting up us for failure, because you would rush to ship on a particular date. So the fee switch would be alongside the premium plans. So as Harish mentioned in one of the answered questions, it's currently going through a whitelist. So a percentage of that essentially fees that comes in would accrue to the network. So once the premium plan has, we've ironed out all of the kinks, it's in production, it's self-serve, that's when the fee switch would go on. And the estimate here would be Q2, Q3 at the latest. So it's in our, it's visible to us. The second question is move to L1. Here, the advantage is that there's a big community of people who want to join us in rebuilding Covalent on a Cosmos chain. So that's a very positive sign. So the work and the initial due diligence is starting next week. I've built Cosmos zones in the past. It's just click, 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 and then you have an app chain. So it's not really that difficult. So I would say maybe a quarter's worth of work from the time we start. And so that would say late Q3, early Q4 is kind of like a frame before the end of the year. There's a lot more pieces here, of course, because we have to recruit the validators. They have to run the different aspects. The Cosmos zone requires additional security. So you have to bootstrap the security module. which is separate from running Geth, which is not the case with Moonbeam or Ethereum, where it's shared security. So there's a lot more pieces here in going to market besides the build itself. That's where the timelines escape any kind of reason. The NFT cache. So great news here. I would say mid-Feb, so a month from now, it'll be up and running. I've played with the new endpoints. The endpoints are live in private testing. So Adam, one of our engineers, has done a fantastic job there alongside the rest of the team who supported him. So what we've done is we've crawled about 25 million tokens on Ethereum and Polygon and BSC and cached and resized them on our side. So now if you hit one of these newer NFT endpoints, if you're trying to get assets or metadata, it's not going to some upstream server and getting rate limited and so on. It's just served caught from our cache. So that's pretty exciting. You know, there's a lot of work gone into it. I think there's been over 9 or 10 months of like full-time work that's gone into just this endpoint. There is a page on our knowledge base that maybe Harish, you can share, which shows the live count of the number of assets that are cached across the different chains. So that's pretty exciting. Class C, so great news there. You might have probably seen the new Class C landing pages or the documentation site that is now live on our knowledge base. So if you go to the covalenthk.com/docs, click on Unified API and click on Class C, there's about 9 or 10 protocols that are live with balances and market data and transactions. And I think they're going through QA right now. There's been a big breakthrough on this last week and actually last night. So Aave is ready, Lido is ready. There's another unannounced chain, which is, well, maybe we should announce this here. Bitcoin. So we've added Bitcoin support. So Bitcoin balances and transactions come from Class C because it doesn't fit our regular response shape. So it's not unified in that nature, but balances are just balances, just like any other token. So that's pretty exciting. So this is there's no official launch for Class C. An endpoint gets ready and then it's get delivered, and the list just goes on and on and on. So that's pretty exciting. Data refiner. So the majority of the focus and the marketing and the push and the collateral that comes out in the month of February is around the data refiner. I think this is a hidden gem. There's not a lot of people who understand what is the value of a distributed tracing engine. So I think the onus is on us to explain how this fits into this modular blockchain stack and how we're essentially rebuilding the data stack for the next set of blockchains. So hopefully that gives you some some color. There's a lot going on.
Yep, that answers.
The next question.
Yeah, that answers the next question as well. That what's up in January and February. So yeah, thanks.
We'll have a blog post. We'll have a blog post in the first week of Feb that outlines everything we shipped in Jan.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I think the mistake we made from last year is that we didn't really hold ourselves accountable with a blog post, and so we were shipping. We never stopped shipping, but we never really communicated that to the world. And so now we should just literally publish a blog post that product update Jan 2023 and outline everything. And you look back, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months, like there's going to be 12 blog posts for this year.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. I think we can wrap it up after this. When we'll be able to see the support for non-EVM chains like Cardano? I think you've answered this question on previous calls, but yeah, you want to throw some more light on this?
Sure. It's been a on and off kind of focus for us. It's super hard to add support to non-EVM chains. If you look at other data providers out there, they added Terra Luna support, and then that whole ecosystem just collapsed. They added Solana support. It took them a year and a half to add Solana support, and that is it's not clear if there's like DeFi traction anymore on Solana. So these things are super hard to invest in. I would say it would take minimum maybe a year and a half to get the basic support for a non-EVM chain. So unless there's traction on that chain, there's no reason for us to invest resources on there. specifically with regards to Cardano, there's an EVM sidechain, Milkometa, which is now integrated. So I believe that is live. So there is some action going on as the EVM sidechain to Cardano. But other than that, the only non-EVM chain that is native, like in terms of transactions, would be Bitcoin.
Yeah, thanks for answering that. I mean, that's how we started as well with Bitcoin, right? RSK was the chain that we did as the side chain, and now we are going after Bitcoin. So it's not like if, it's like when, and then we will with whatever challenges we face within indexing non-EVM chains. Okay, so there's one question about validators, and then we can wrap this up. Will we be able to switch our CQT from one operator to another? So, Ganesh.
Well, the blank answer here is yes, right? You own the custody of your assets and you can switch. Now, the gotcha here is there's a cooldown period of a number of days before you can have access to the unstaked delegation. So that is the only gotcha. But once you have that answered, then it's just a matter of switching over to a delegator. And we are building performance metrics to benchmark these operators. So you know what the historical APR has been for these different operators, so you can make the right choice.
Great. Thanks a lot, Ganesh. I see some of the questions already answered by Harish and Leilani on the Q&A, in the Q&A section. So I think we are good for today. Yeah, it was a great call. Thanks, everyone. As you might have noticed, we are going to be giving out the exclusive bear market builder swap for everyone who's attended this call. So anyone who's watching this on YouTube, I'm sorry. And yeah, stay tuned. We look forward to hosting another one next month.
Thank you all. Take care.